Hi, I'm Dr. Darren Schmidt, and this is a quick video on parasites. Now, I've seen a lot of patients where parasites come up when we do our testing procedure, and I've had dozens of people get rid of parasites when they go to the bathroom, when they sit on the toilet, and in their stool there's a worm, or segments of a worm, like little pieces of rice. Or we had a patient who eliminated out a parasite that looked like a jellyfish, and it was swimming in the toilet bowl like this. I had a patient eliminate an insect. It had a hard body, it had multiple legs, and it was sitting on the top of the stool. Um, it was gross. I've had people bring in their parasites in a jar. I've had people take pictures of parasites and give them to me, give me the pictures, and I tell them I don't want to see any more. I've seen plenty, but parasites, they're gross, and a lot of people have them, and you may have them. They can cause stomach pain, they can cause constipation, diarrhea, they can cause, you name any symptom, and it can be caused by a parasite. I've seen parasites in the brain. They can cause congestion in the ears. The parasites could be single cellular, or microscopic, or they could be flukes, like a liver fluke or a lung fluke. We've had people cough up parasites when they cough. We had a woman who she blew her nose, and half of a worm came out into the Kleenex, and then 10 minutes later she coughed, and the other half came out through her mouth. So I know it's totally disgusting and gross, but this is life. This is life on planet Earth. Now, culturally, our country, the United States, we don't deal with parasites as a culture. Now, there are cultures around the world that do, and we should. Every single year, you have to deworm the dog, you got to deworm the kids, you got to deworm the pets, and yourself. Like Costa Rica and parts of Brazil, they all deworm themselves at least once a year. And that's why in Mexico they have hot peppers, and that's why in Japan they have wasabi. So these hot herbs, spiced foods, kill parasites inside the body. Now, I've never seen a patient go to a health food store and buy a parasite cleanse program and then have success with it. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, the dose isn't high enough. Let's say they buy black walnut hull or wormwood or something like that. You got to have the right dose. It's got to be more typically than what's written on the box. And secondarily, if you have worms, you have to cycle them. You got to cycle the supplements 10 days on, 5 days off. So for 10 days, you're killing the worms that are alive inside your intestines or wherever they're at in the body. And then you got to let the eggs hatch for 5 days. So then you go back on 10 days and then off for 10 days. And you keep cycling this for about 3 months. And you're letting these eggs hatch, and then you're killing those new baby worms. So once you start this program, you can't stop it until they're all gone. And that's where the muscle testing comes in that we do, the nutrition response testing, because we can find out when the parasites are gone, and or if you need to keep doing what you're doing. So now we've had some people eliminate parasites every day for a year and a half, and I've seen that happen actually twice. And both of the patients were, one was in his 60s, another one was in her 70s, and some of them look like curlicues. There's just a wide variety of parasites. But yeah, so we could just be really toxic and cleaning out parasites every day for, a long, long time. But most of the time it takes only about 3 months to get rid of the parasites. So it's a fascinating subject. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. If you go to the doctor, the medical doctor, they'll just say, oh, parasites don't exist in this country. Or if you hadn't been to Mexico or India, they're just going to dismiss the whole subject. I've had parasites take a picture of the worm that's in the toilet and then show it to their doctor, and the doctor says, oh, you must have had spaghetti the night before. So, yeah, you got to go with the holistic doctors when it comes to this subject, this parasite subject. When I had a patient bring in liver flukes in a jar, so I called up the local hospital. They have a parasitology department. This is actually University of Michigan Hospital. And I said, will you take the parasites I have and find out what they are? Just identify what they are. And they said, no, we won't do that because you're only a chiropractor. And secondarily, I said to them, well, how many parasites do you identify in a week? And they said, oh, about maybe 100. And I said, well, what area is that? Is that like Ann Arbor? in like Detroit, like southeastern Michigan. They said no, it's all of Michigan, it's all of Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Wisconsin. And I was like, you got all those states, you should be identifying 3,000 parasites a week. Like, that's the number of parasites that should be shipped to your department, because if you got all those states, that's, millions and millions of people. But, we're just not, as a culture, we're just not looking for parasites, and we're not finding them. So go to a holistic doctor to find parasites and get them out of your body.